Have you ever wondered why Jerusalem, a city with such breathtaking beauty and profound religious significance, remains a hotbed of conflict in the Middle East? Today, we're embarking on an eye-opening journey into the heart of this ancient city. From its iconic landmarks to its tumultuous history, we'll uncover the reasons behind the ongoing tensions that grip Jerusalem. Stick around to the end to gain a deeper understanding of why Jerusalem's story is so vital in understanding the complexities on the Middle East. Jerusalem, a city nestled in the heart of the Levant, is a region where Asia and Africa meet. It's like a big crossroads where people from all walks of life converge. Now, imagine this place surrounded by rolling hills and deep valleys, like a natural fortress guarding its secrets for over 3,000 years. Now let's talk about what makes Jerusalem so special: its symbols. It's not just a dot on the map, it's more like a beautiful quilt stitched together with the beliefs of three major world religions: Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Each religion has its own sacred spots here, kind of like pieces of a puzzle that fit perfectly together. But here's the twist. Alongside all this beauty and reverence, Jerusalem has a darker side. Throughout its long history, it's seen more than its fair share of fights and struggles. Imagine countless battles fought over the city, leaving behind scars that you can still see today in its ancient walls and streets. From knights to crusaders to mighty empires clashing, Jerusalem has been through it all. But even now, in modern times, the echoes of those old conflicts still linger in its narrow alleys and lively markets. It's like the city carries the weight of its past on its shoulders, even as it moves forward into the future. The sacred city of three big religions. Jerusalem is like a spiritual magnet, pulling in believers from all over the world. Let's dig into why this city is so incredibly special for Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Imagine Jerusalem as the beating heart of Christianity. It's where the most important events in Jesus Christ's life unfolded, from his suffering, crucifixion, and burial to his miraculous resurrection. One of the standout spots is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, believed to sit right on the very spot where Jesus was crucified and later rose from the dead. For Christians, going on a pilgrimage to Jerusalem is like a journey back in time, a chance to walk in Jesus' footsteps and feel closer to their faith. Jerusalem is like the crown jewel in Jewish tradition, the place where their most sacred temple once stood, the very spot where they believe God chose to dwell among them. The Western Wall, also called the Wailing Wall, is like the last precious piece of that temple, where Jews from all over come to pray and connect with their history. And it's not just ancient history. Jerusalem is often called the City of David, a nod to the great king who made it the capital of ancient Israel, a place deeply woven into Jewish identity. In Islam, Jerusalem holds a special place as the third holiest city after Mecca and Medina. It's where the Prophet Muhammad took his night journey, ascending to heaven. Picture the Dome of the Rock, its golden dome gleaming in the sun. Muslims believe it's where Muhammad ascended to the heavens and where Abraham once stood, ready to sacrifice his son. And right next door, you have the Al-Aqsa Mosque, one of the oldest in the world, a place steeped in Islamic history and reverence. Jerusalem isn't just a city. It's like a treasure chest bursting with the stories and beliefs of millions of people. It's a place where the past and present intertwine, where faith and history walk hand in hand. Why has Jerusalem been the focal point of tension in the Middle East? Throughout history, Jerusalem has been like a shiny jewel, catching the eye of empires and kingdoms for many reasons. One big reason is its super important religious status. Imagine a city that's like a magnet for various big players, from the Assyrians to the Byzantines, who all wanted a piece of it. Fast forward to the time of knights and swords, the Crusades. That was like a giant tug of war between Christians and Muslims over who gets to hold Jerusalem. They kept passing the city back and forth like it was a prized trophy, and that caused a lot of fights and sadness. Then came the Ottoman Empire, which took control of Jerusalem for centuries. But even though they were in charge, tensions were still bubbling under the surface. You see, Jerusalem is like a big melting pot of different people, all with their own beliefs and ways of living. So, even when one group was in charge, others weren't happy about it. In the 1900s, Jewish folks were really eager to have their own country in a place called Palestine, which is where Jerusalem is. This idea, called Zionism, became super popular. More and more Jewish people started moving to Palestine, especially after a letter called the Balfour Declaration in 1917 said it was cool for them to set up shop there. Then, after the terrible things that happened in World War II, where millions of Jewish people were killed in something called the Holocaust, everyone felt really bad for them. So, there was a big push to make sure they had their own safe place to live. Finally, in 1948, Israel said, "We are our own country now." But this made some folks in the neighborhood upset, and they started a war with Israel. When the dust settled, Israel controlled the western part of Jerusalem, while Jordan took over the eastern part, including the Old City. When Israel was created, a lot of Palestinian people had to leave their homes, which they called the Nakba, meaning catastrophe. One big problem that's never really been solved is who gets to claim Jerusalem as their capital. Both Israelis and Palestinians really want it. Then, in 1967, there was a big fight called the Six-Day War. That's when Israel swooped in and took control of East Jerusalem, where you find the Old City, packed with holy spots for different religions. They said, "Okay, this part's ours now." But most other countries don't agree with that. This move shook things up big time in the whole Israeli-Palestinian showdown. Fast forward to 1993, when everyone was hopeful for peace thanks to the Oslo Accords. They were supposed to sort out things between Israel and the Palestinians, giving the Palestinians some control in certain areas. But guess what? They couldn't agree on who should get to claim Jerusalem. Then came the Second Intifada from 2002 to 2005. This was a dark time of violence with bombings, shootings, and tons of fighting. And yep, you guessed it, Jerusalem was like the bullseye for all that chaos. But hold on to your hats, because in 2017, the United States threw a massive curveball. They declared Jerusalem belongs to Israel, and even said they'd move their embassy there from Tel Aviv. Talk about stirring the pot. Most other countries weren't on board with that, making things even more tense in the region. These moments, along with others, are like pieces of a super tricky puzzle, showing just how complex things are in a city that means the world to different folks, for all sorts of reasons. In the heart of Jerusalem, amidst the ancient stones and sacred sites, lies a story of resilience and defiance. It's a story of people bound by faith and torn apart by politics. As we gaze upon this city of contrasts, let us remember that peace in the Middle East begins with understanding, empathy, and a shared commitment to coexistence. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Jerusalem, a city where the past and present collide in a kaleidoscope of faith and conflict. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content exploring the intersections of history, culture, and geopolitics. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.